right, cool.
All right, all right. So,
We can't say all right anymore. I heard that got
yeah,
copyrighted.
copyright. Yeah,
So
trademarked.
I guess we'll have to beep, 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 beep. You know,
Yeah, Morse code it.
all right, possibly all right. Or no, I don't know.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Well, welcome back,
Yeah.
everybody, to
Shards and
Shards and
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans. I'm your co-host, Christopher. This is...
Your co-host Kyle.
Oh,
Happy to
thanks,
be
guys.
here and very excited to have some Misty boys and Misty girls and Misty people on listening to the pod. So we are wrapping up part two
Part 2,
of
Electric Boogaloo.
the Will of Ascension, chapters 24, and we're gonna go ahead and take it all the way through the end of the last part here through chapter 27. Is that right? 24,
Yeah,
27.
I think so.
So 24 through 27. Um, some dense material, so we're going to try to get through it, as efficiently as possible, but obviously still trying to going to make sure we have lots of shenanigans along the way. So,
Oh, of course.
very excited to see how this part ends and where the next part's going to take us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think, the only way to start our day probably would be to have a little snack. So
Gotta snack it up.
I think I was going to jump in. This one's interesting. He commanded kings, and though he sought no empire, he became greater than all who had come before. So kind of another side of, I'm still thinking Alendi, prior to, so like almost like he had dominion prior to Ascension. Like he had kind of already done some conquering before becoming the Lord Ruler. Like otherwise,
Are
like,
you saying like before he went up to
the Well of
before
Ascension?
he went into the well? Yeah,
yeah, and like otherwise, like otherwise it's not Alendi, right? Then it's like Rashek that we're talking about, but maybe like we still think is Alendi. So that's where I'm like kind of. That's what I think. I don't know. This one is a little vague, but I think that's what it's talking about.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think you're. I have the same feelings. So
nice. Well, all right. Yeah. And other than that, it's a little taste. It's a little teaser.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to dive in. I got nothing else really to say about that whole snack.
All right. Well, glad we're on the same page.
Hey.
Jumping into chapter 24 here. We are in a Vin perspective, and she is up on top of the rooftop of Keep Venture once again, protecting over her lover, and she's hanging out here with Orsur, and she's been thinking about Sazed's discoveries that we just kind of wrapped up talking about at the end of chapter 23. And she is inclined to believe him. Obviously, very wise man, wise steward, wise Terrace person, and so she's definitely on the Sazed train. And while she's hanging out up here, she's got the mist spirit that she's always feeling that's hanging out nearby, just watching her. So that's not creepy at all. And there is a strange thumping in the distance, which she's felt before, and she couldn't really put her finger on it. That was before Sazed had come. Right kind of at the beginning of all that. And I think end of chapter 22 is when we first had her feeling the thumping coming and the distance, and she was trying to figure out what it was, and then she got distracted. So she's feeling it here again. And in reference to this, she pulls out a logbook page from what would have been a Lindy's kind of like diary. She obviously doesn't know that it's a Lindy, but it says, "I sleep but a few hours each night. We must press forward, traveling as much as we can each day. But when I finally lie down, I find sleep elusive. The same thoughts that trouble me during the day are only compounded by the stillness of the night. And above it all, I hear the thumping sounds from above, the pulsings from the mountains, drawing me closer with each beat." And kind of ending the quote there. So, we're seeing that, she's not the only person that's been feeling these beats, these this drumming thumping, tub thumping in the in the deep.
Nice.
And she'd even asked one of Ellen's seekers to burn some bronze. One of the few allomancers he has at his service, and this guy claimed to hear nothing coming from the north. And she's just curious, why am I? And some man who's been dead 1,000 years. Why are we the only two persons, or two people, I should say, who seem to be able to hear this?
Right.
Obviously this is the person that they were calling the hero of ages, and she just calls herself silly here. She's like,
Well, yeah, because she invalidates like any kind of positive thing other than like, well, like, because she's so easy to be like, well, I'm silly, like maybe he's crazy, maybe I'm crazy, but like, yeah. He thought he was the hero of ages. I couldn't be the hero of ages. She's so quick to shut that kind of like wonder and curiosity down because of, I guess, like, not strictly positive inclinations, right? Like hero of ages, it's a big task of whatever they have to do, which remains to be seen. But like, I still think she's not doing it because of that. I think she's doing it because she's like, I couldn't possibly be something amazing, or like be something great. She's gone down this rabbit hole ever since this book started of just being like negativity, right? And it's only really abated by a different character's interactions with her, which we will see here shortly.
Yeah,
but that's my vibe.
I 100% agree. She is like, I don't know if it's her upbringing or like, I mean, even someone who is like the best at something, unless you're like Michael Jordan level, like I am the best, like why would anyone think, oh yeah, I am gonna fulfill prophecies? Right. Like you'd have to be pretty self-centered and like a little narcissistic to kind of, I think, have those feelings. And
sure,
she's obviously hasn't, comes from a past where that kind of thinking was never encouraged, or no one taught her to believe in herself. So
absolutely, it's sad.
Vin. Oh, Vin. So we've got a perspective change here to Mr. Zane.
Oh.
He's at Keep Hasting, a little bit away from Vin right now, and he's sitting there waiting. He's got some anticipation. He's tense with it, and they always meet where they last lost each other during their like little chases and fights and kind of the back and forth that they've been going through. And she hasn't actually come the last few nights, and so he's kind of like, well, what the heck? I want to see my Mist Girl.
Yeah,
and,
right.
So he's thinking, Straff will eventually order Vin killed, and he here has been growing. He has growing reluctance against that possibility, and the fact that also outside of like, hey, Straff's gonna have her killed, he's gonna ask me to do it. He's also feeling like, well, maybe she's gonna be able to beat me, and I think it's like a twofold thought of, yeah, she could beat me, and that just means I'm not good enough, and like, someone's stronger than me. I think there's like that line, and then there's obviously the line of like, well, if I try to kill her and then she beats me, then I'm dead.
Yeah, right.
But he's thinking she could be it though. The thing that finally lets me resist, the thing that convinces me to just leave.
Yeah.
And, I think to put that in how I view this is like, Straff's all he's ever known, and he kind of needs an excuse to separate from him and to leave his side. And, he kind of he's even mentioned, I think earlier, like needing someone else to rely on, someone else to support him. And so I think that's just kind of in that vein.
Yeah, I think that's super accurate for sure. He's kind of got like a Stockholm syndrome. I mean, even though he's like wasn't abducted, he's with his natural father, like still is a survivor of a lot of trauma.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, according to like what it appears that he's been through. So, and he's clearly not doing well psychologically with all the like self-harm and the voices in his head. And Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Everything.
we all talk to God. It's normal.
Yeah,
And or well, I mean, we might all talk to God, but not all of us have God talk to us. You know,
Yes, and
so
tell us to kill people. Yeah, that
yeah,
especially that.
so pretty sick.
Yeah.
Kidding. And he soars here. He's tired of waiting, and he leaps and bounds across the city to keep Venture. And he sees Vin sitting there on the rooftop overlooking Ellen's rooms, and he tries to sneak up behind her, but she turns around and sees him, and she's like, "Man, how does she do that?" And she greets him here, and he says he was hoping she'd come, and she says like she's not in the mood to spar, and Orsur, our kind of new favorite companion, is very tense as Zane approached. I don't think he particularly likes this.
Yeah.
And certainly taken on a, kind of this, obviously, this wolfhound role, right? Which is kind of interesting. Like, not only is he becoming, yes, I'm still a servant and honoring the contract to you, but like it's obviously a, I don't know. There's probably a literary term for this, but he's stepping into this character of this dog, and he's almost like not just being like, I don't know, like if he played Lord Renault, and now he like really stepped into that and was like, oh, I'm Lord Renault, and you're my niece, and blah blah blah, and like now he's really stepping into the like, I'm your protector, and I just don't know if
I'm your wolfhound. Yeah, totally.
Like some of it is maybe just him stepping into roles, but then like I think as we've seen, a lot of that is just his compassion for Vin and like their growing and budding relationship. So
It does seem a little extra,
really
right?
cool.
He does seem to like, what do you call it? Like kind of go. He mentions a couple times just like going a little bit above and beyond what he should be with the contract. Like that's the vibe I'm getting. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
So he, she says she's not in the mood to spar, and Zane talks about Vin's worry for Ellen, despite that Ellen's just using her, and she's like, we've been over this. But as she's going, like as she's saying, hey, we've been over this, like, I love him, blah blah blah. She is thinking that this guy, this Zane, is so strong and sure of himself, and then so different from ... That's like, yikes! Like now we're making direct comparisons from this guy to your guy. Like, don't love that. And so,
totally.
Zane brings up Vin's past and her desire for change and power, and then he goes on to say she has the power now to do, to do what she wants, and like, why not kill those who use her? And she's like, well, maybe when I was little, I wanted to kill everybody, but like, I've grown up. Like, we can't all just, like, that's not how you solve all your problems, is just killing the people standing in your way. And, which I thought was kind of an interesting, kind of thought, because, as Zane says that he's found that a child's instincts are often the most honest and the most natural, I think it's more of a sign of how juvenile he is despite his age, and like how maybe repressed his mental fortitude and social skills and some of these other things have clearly not developed in him, based off his upbringing, right? Like he hasn't matured.
He's like, a kid's mind is fine. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think that's a really good catch, and I think very telling as well. Like you said, I totally agree. Good call out.
Thank you. The last thing I kind of, before we get back to the book, I just wonder if here, like when he's been meeting with Vin, you think God in his mind is telling him to kill her? Because we haven't heard that. And I know he said at one point in the past that like the voice is easier to deal with or less intrusive when he's around her, but like less intrusive is not absent.
No.
And so I just wonder, like we haven't really seen that yet, and I just wondering if that's happening.
For sure. That's a good point.
Just a curiosity thing.
Yeah, right.
So, Vin tests Zane, who has his back turned, by she throws like a coin down, and he spins around and he looks at her, but then sees that like she's not doing anything, and he turns away, and she thinks, he doesn't quite trust me yet. Thinks I'm going to attack him, or maybe I'm going to leap away. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. And then he asked Vin what she would do if she had no one telling her what to do, like this, like, hey, let me just put this kind of thought question out to you. And she thinks in her mind, I'm going to go north towards the thumping. And then she says, well, I don't know. And he's like, well, sorry for wasting your time. And he like is going to take off. And then she stops him and says, well, I'd protect him. And, and then basically I'd protect Ellen, and I would kill Set and Zane, or I'm not, sorry, Set and Straff.
Right.
And, that's what she would do with, if no one was telling her what to do. And he's like, well, why don't you just do it? And he sees the confusion in her eyes, right? Like she has these instincts to do it, to kill these people. And she says that, hey, there's repercussions. I need to listen to Ellen. His diplomacy may still work. And Zane's like, that's all fine and dandy until Ellen orders her to kill someone. Like, not just something she wants to do for him, but like he starts to use her as like this tool or a weapon of war.
Right.
And Vin says, well, it doesn't work that way. And Zane's like, you're just a toy. You're his toy. And I'm Straff's, and neither one of us can break free, not alone.
Yeah.
And he uses an analogy here about coins and their value and how they lose value when you're a Mistborn. Like, basically, the coin just becomes a tool. And he's obviously talking about them here, how, they're losing value by just being used.
Well, it's interesting because like Vin has this thought in an earlier chapter about the coins and about the value.
Yeah, great point.
And I think that like there's this connection that I think he has no way. I think they're just genuinely like he brings it up and it happens to hit with her. Either that or it's strategic because he knows that she's not a noble woman, right? And that she was like kind of born appreciating the value of these boxings a little bit more than the rest of the Mistborn. So I thought it was very interesting that he brought that up.
Great callback. So he says he has to go, and she doesn't really want him to, and she really likes talking to someone that's like her, but she does let him go, and she doesn't want to seem desperate. And that's really the end of 25.
Yeah, 24. I think.
Sorry, yeah, 24. 24
no, you're good. I think it is interesting. I was like thinking about it, and like I'm on team Vin Elend to work out. Elend is kind of a goofball, but he's our goofball. And I think the team Vin Zane here, I think it can exist because like Vin never really had like a romantic partner, right? And so I think there's a part of her that's always going to want to like wonder about like to be the first person that she meets. Like I don't know, I don't necessarily think like that's also like appropriate for Vin, like, oh, you're going to find the one the first time and things like that.
Yeah,
but it does concern me, like the lying and the like hiding of these like kind of thoughts and these interactions with Zane, and just like the fallout, right? Like there's nothing good that's going to come of that. And so I worry for Vin because she could end up, losing more than she bargained for, right? If this goes the wrong way for her. So yeah. That's my vibe. I know you were like, we don't really like that. And I was like, yeah, but like at the same time, like, I think it's okay for her to be like curious. And I think she's still like definitely like flirting the line of that. But in the same coin, like the injustice is there just in the exploration of the process, right? And there's this whole like shutting Ellen down and like not accepting his marriage proposal and kind of like, well, what are you doing then with Ellen there? Like let him, if you love something, let it go free.
Well, I think in that vein, a relationship has to be built on communication. And like I don't know if it's because, like you said, this is her first real thing, and or if it's, hey, like it's Ellen's kind of real first thing. I know he was like with Shan a little bit, maybe, but like he really hasn't taken relationships seriously, it seems like, in the past. So like,
Right.
if they're both, I think they're both kind of working through like they don't really know how to communicate their feelings, and like you just have to talk about stuff.
For sure.
Like, like she could certainly tell Ellen that she's meeting with this guy, and like that they, hey, I'm curious because he's a Mistborn, and like I think he'd understand, and like could he get jealous? Maybe, I don't know, but like it's just better to, I think, be open and transparent about it all. So yeah, I think it's some more juvenility, if that's a word.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, more juvenility. I'm not sure if it's a word, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. It's like, yeah, more 100%. I agree. No, I'm not even going to try to find a better word. The juvenility, juvenility. I like it. It could be a word.
Well, do you want to? I mean,
snack tag.
If you have, yeah. Do you just want to pick up the next snack?
Oh, dude, I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up. I'll unwrap it. I'll leave it out here. Baby Ruth.
Let's chew on this one.
But I just wanted to make sure before we didn't go too far that we weren't pissing the night away with the tub thumping, if you know what I mean. My Chumbawamba fans out there. Okay, so that's that's it. Here's the snack. He fathered no children, yet all of the land became his progeny. That's interesting. What do you think about this snack?
Short, sweet, to the point. Actually, not really to the point. Obviously he didn't have any like direct descendants, but all of the land became like he basically. I'm feeling that he has become responsible for the land and the people. And now, if Alendi was going down this path and he was supposed to be responsible, and then the Lord Ruler, Rashek, took over and became the Lord Ruler, and he's been keeping this deepness away, he, in a sense, everyone is kind of his progeny, I feel like, in a way, too. So maybe it's just kind of along that similar path.
I mean, if the deepness is like the apocalypse, right? Like, we don't really know what it is, but if it was, then no one would be alive if it wasn't for his efforts, like holding it back, right? So I think that's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, I think it's a good snack. Yeah, and I think
okay.
I think,
I'm picking up.
I think the more we read and find out,
I'm stepping what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm smelling what you're stepping. Jesus Christ,
stacking what you're splitting. But yeah, I think we're reading what he's writing here, and we're enjoying it. So, yeah, I think from there on, let's dive into the meal. 25.
Yeah, 25. It's a long one, so bear with us.
This is a long one.
We're gonna get through it here. So, Vin perspective, she's hanging out, sleeping in her rooms, and she's a light sleeper for obvious reasons. Pretty horrible things going on in her childhood, and so she's sleeping here. But she did hear a soft bark of a warning that someone was approaching her door.
Oh, so, bark. Hey.
Shout out Orsur.
Yeah.
And she awakes, and she grabs a vial immediately and downs it. And then she grabs daggers from her pillow that she's got stored there. And she's kind of like crouched on the bed at this like low ready to attack somebody. And Tindwyl comes in, and she's like, "Oh, glad you're awake, Vin." And obviously, Vin was very much not awake. And it's time to go shopping. We're shopping.
Here we go. Dude,
you get a new dress. You get a new
great.
dress.
Yeah.
You get a new dress. I
like this more than I thought I would. I loved the scene.
Well, I like just Tindwyl a lot.
Yeah, she's growing on me.
Yeah, she's awesome. So it's great to have a scene with her, and like more Tindwyl, I think, is always good. So,
well, and sorry, I just thought of that because you mentioned like how much we like Tindwyl, because I'm with you. Vin doesn't have a strong female role model, and I just think Tindwyl is really stepping up here, and like I think, I mean, like her agenda, her motives. We kind of have this idea that she's like kind of come to help Ellen and like to do these things for Ellen, and you could maybe see like by helping Vin she's also helping Ellen, but I just feel like it's a little bit extra, and specifically called out in this chapter here of the way she approaches Vin with like
as opposed to Ellen.
Yeah, with like intent and like what do you need? And so yeah, I like that. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, I dig it. If we get to it, I'll call it out.
No, yeah, yeah, I think I'm right there with you on all of that. So Tindwyl, she's come to get Vin. Vin needs to get a nice dress to meet Straff in. Certainly, trousers and a shirt aren't going to work. And Vin's like, well, I don't take commands. And Tindwyl, eventually convinces her to come, saying like, you really want to meet your boyfriend, fiance, whatever's dad in pants. And Vin's like, well, okay. And so she goes, and Vin wants to know what angle is Tindwyl playing at. So very skeptical here.
Right.
And so on the way to meet up with Tindwyl to leave, she's thinking of Zane and all the comments he just had, and she's kind of reminiscing about her childhood. And she finally gets outside, Vin and Orsur, and they find Tindwyl there, but Alarion is there as well as Spook.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so Spook gets roped in by Spook gets roped in by Tindwyl to be their Pac-Man, literally carry their bags. And she tells Spook, Vin tells Spook here, hey, be on alert, and he burns 10. And we are quickly learn that he's not the Kandra.
Yeah, pretty exciting. Because I like his development here. It was kind of like a shame if that was like attributed to a bad actor, Kandra. Like, they're better than that.
They wanted a big gun.
Spook's
I thought maybe with the last, in the last chapter when he was talking to the like barmaids, I was like, I don't know, or the kitchen maids or whatever. I was like, I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad he's not. So we're checking them off one by one.
Yeah,
So we'll see where it all goes. Right. But Alarion is coming because she didn't bring much with her when she fled.
She ran,
and so she needs some stuff. And so they all get in a carriage, and Alarion's like, well, why is her sword sitting on the seat? Like, why do you have your dog on the seat? Does he have to be there? And Vin's like, yeah, bitch. Like, chill. And Alarion's like, well, is this one guy, is this Spook? Is he going to be enough to protect us? And Tindwyl just kind of gives Vin this look and is like, yeah, we're going to be all right. Like, we're all right. And then Alarion picks up on it, a lot more perceptive of a character than I think we're led to believe at the beginning.
Yeah, and definitely.
She remembers, oh yes, Vin's an Alamancer, and asks Vin like, hey, is it true? Did you kill the Lord Ruler? And calls Vin rickety and dangerous.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what rickety means.
It's kind of like, I got the vibe it's like wiry, like, oh, they're wiry, like kind of like, I don't know, like an addict's dangerous, unpredictable, skinny looking, maybe. It's hard to say.
She's interesting here, and she asks, she's like, hey, do you always wear clothes like that, Vin? Like, are you always dressed kind of so
like
poorly?
A man?
Like a man, like. And, we get some good backstory, a little bit on Alarion. Her mother had trained her basically up. They were far from court, but learned how to be a lady and how to kind of play the game, and trained her because, basically the idea was that she would be bartered off to like another house for an alliance, like a trade. So, we get lots of flashbacks during this encounter here for Vin. Vin, her time in court, the dancing, the talking, the balls, the secrecy, she's really kind of going back to that time in her mind. And Vin tells Alarion here that, like, hey, I'm not a noble, but I'm a ska. And Alarion's like, oh, yeah, okay, this all makes more sense why you like how you dress and who you are and why you're so rickety. And Breezy is a ska too, she says, but only half. So I guess that makes it okay or something in her mind. And then says that her father didn't treat ska very well. And so we fast forward a little bit. They've arrived to Kenton Street in Luthadel. Big market, pretty crowded here. People are just going kind of on with their lives, even though they're under siege. And as they get out and they're walking around, Vin's looking at the food prices, and they're already very steep due to the siege. And she's thinking like, hey, we can't hold out forever. Like we're gonna need to figure this out sooner than later because like things are already kind of getting bad.
Right.
And Tidwell points to a dress shop, and Alarion runs off, and Spook's eager to follow. He's kind of picked up the scent of a new young lady that he can try to to enamor with his teenage romance,
teenage dirtbag,
yeah,
skills,
kinda,
yeah,
and
that's Spook for sure.
Yeah, I think you're actually probably right.
Yeah.
He's in. We'll see how he develops.
Yeah,
and
I'm excited.
He's kind of gonna follow any lady, anything that's got two legs and maybe a pair of boobs. Like that's his thing.
That's what Vin's describing it as, and like Vin's not available, so he's just like trying to move on. Maybe it's like also.
Which is, might be good.
I mean, I think it's good. I think it's good.
Like,
she's not interested. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Can't linger forever.
No, definitely not.
Vin has really nice things to say. I'm sorry, not nice things to say about Alarion.
Yes.
And Tyndall says, hey, like, Alarion didn't choose her upbringing, Vin, and you didn't choose yours. So maybe stop being so judgy and judgmental. Like,
right.
She can't really help the circumstances that she's in. And Vin's thinking here, like, she likes when people judge her based on what she wears, because then they don't expect much, and like don't expect her to maybe be a Mistborn or a lady or something. And Tinwell asks, as they're kind of at this dress shop, hey, like, do you miss this? Like all these pretty gowns,
right?
And Tyndall's kind of like confused by, I guess, even bringing Vin here and Vin's reactions, because she says that she's heard from Vin's friends and other people she's talked to that Vin was quite liked being in noble society, and she liked had learned that Vin had stopped wearing dresses a few months after the collapse, and she's just kind of confused as to what happened and why did you change, and what caused that. And
right.
Vin said she was liking it, and that was the problem. Wearing a dress makes it easy to forget who she really is, and that she has to be harder, which is very. I don't think this is a spoiler for Wheel of Time, but like it's very Rand al'Thor of like,
oh, yeah.
I have to be stronger and harder. Like you will not break me, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Like
everything's on my shoulders, kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so Tyndall asks. Yes. Tyndall asks, hey, like, why haven't you married Elend? Says that Elend can't reach his full potential until he is sure about things, and specifically sure about Vin. And then we could discover here that it was after Elend's proposal to her that is when she stopped wearing dresses, and that when he proposed, she was terrified.
Yeah.
So I think a lot to unpack there, just about, her kind of mental state going into that, and like why she's so scared of the commitment, and what it all means, and why did she regress to like, well, I'm not a lady, I'm a Mistborn, and I'm just here to protect you. And we've already heard all the things she has said about like he needs someone that he can dote on and he can protect, and I'm not that. And so kind of interesting that she kind of changed her whole personality after he was like, hey, why don't you marry me? And she's like, I'm actually kind of a tomboy and I don't want to be a girl anymore.
Yeah. Right.
And so Tyndall says Elend loves her, and Vin says she's wrong for him. He deserves someone like Alarion. Tyndall reminds her that she's the one that he fell in love with, and Vin says that he didn't even know who she was, and like, that she was the Ska when they first met.
She's
and
pretending to be Alarion. Yeah, exactly.
He knows now, and he hasn't left. Like,
right.
Which is, I think, a great like perspective for her to bring up for Vin. And,
Yeah.
she talks about Tyndall here about how complicated and complex people are. And she's bringing up Alarion and Breeze, and then says that Vin is so much more than she's willing to accept, and why only focus on one side of herself.
Right.
And Vin's like, well, are you just trying to turn me into Ellen's queen? And Tyndall's like, no, I just want to help you turn into whatever, like, you are.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you are, I want you to be that. Like, don't hide parts of yourself. Very cool.
Yeah, big fan.
I think it certainly ties into what you're talking about with, like, a strong female role model for her.
Yeah, definitely.
So Vin tries on a gown. She's kind of in this, like, dream state, almost like a memory. She really likes it. It's beautiful. She feels beautiful in it. And she's thinking about she never actually has had the chance to ever dance with Elend.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, he's always slinked off and kind of gotten out of it, and they've never made it work. And so the dressmaker has her kind of move around and flourish a bit, and everyone's in awe and says that she has the most grace, is the most graceful of anyone that's come into the shop. And Tyndall says that it is a grace most women envy, and Vin blushes by this and, like, kind of holds her arms down. And I love this here where she says she does that to prevent the traitorous dress from taking over her again. Like the dress is what's causing her to do this stuff instead of her just kind of naturally doing it.
Right.
Vin asked why Tyndall's being so nice, and you brought this up earlier, compared to how she's been treating Elend, and it really comes down to just the fact that Elend's been coddled his whole life, right? He's been a princeling, and he's had people serving him and doting after him, and Vin's been quite the opposite in life, and so doesn't need any more of that from Tyndall. She's had enough in her life. And Tyndall asks for some specifics here for the dress, to the dressmaker for Vin. Pockets in the sleeves, tight but not too tight, lots of room to move around quickly if she needs to. It needs to look noble, like nobly, I guess, if that's a word, but will allow her to act if she needs to.
Yes.
And
Vin wants fashion, maybe.
Vin wants black, but Tyndall's like, no, Vin, you've worn enough black in your life, and so they settle on royal blue. The
closest thing to black they can get.
Pretty close. But I guess it's progress.
Yeah.
So someone, I don't remember who, but someone in the group uses Vin's name, and the dressmaker is, like, shocked and, like, ashamed that he didn't recognize her, and he's like, I'm sorry. And kind of at the same time, the paparazzi have arrived, right? Like the onlookers, all these looky-loos realize Vin's in this dress shop, and they're all standing outside. And kind of what are they? The followers of the survivor, or there's some term for them. Like of the religion of the survivor.
Anyway. Like disciples.
Disciples, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's a little too high of a term. Devotees.
I think that's all in the same vein.
Yeah.
So
devotees of the Church of Survivor. The followers. They're followers.
Followers. They're following along. And so Vin's like, I'm out of here. There's a back door, I'm sure. Let's get out. And Tyndall, gets her to go outside and address the people and says, like, you need to give them hope.
Yeah.
And Alarion, surprisingly, takes her arm and, like, is like, yep, let's do it. And, like, they go out together, arm in arm. And Vin immediately starts soothing the crowd.
Yep.
Very Breeze move. And a Ska worker says, hey, what's going to become of us? And Vin's like, I don't, everything's going to be okay. And then the naysayers start to hit her, like the tomatoes start being thrown, essentially, right?
Right.
And, they're interrupting her and start to shout out that Ellen's going to abandon them, sell them down the river. And it starts to get loud. People are starting to shout, and Vin's covering her ears. And she pushes out with steel and brass, and people's buttons go flying off of their jackets and stuff. And she screams, stop. And I would think that this is a pretty powerful, like, if you were witnessing this, you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, for sure.
And she flares her soothing here and says, like, we're going to protect you. Ellen and I are going to find a way. And so, like, some of the crowd seem to accept this, and they kind of start to break up. Some children are brought forward. Clearly they want her to at least touch them or kiss them or hold them. And Vin just ducks back inside. And Tyndall, while I don't think she probably loved how it all went down, she seems appeased. Like, okay, like, thanks for going out there and doing that. You did the right thing. And Vin's like, well, I lied to these people. And Tyndall says, well, it's not a lie. They didn't know what the future holds. And, what should you do, Vin? Just give up and run away? And, it gives them, it's time to give up or believe in Luthadel.
Yeah,
like,
take a
you
stand.
need to pick what you want to do. Like,
Right.
Take a stance. Yeah, exactly. And she's kind of, at this point, I feel like Tyndall's kind of exacerbated by Elend and Vin, or exasperated. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Like, she's just kind of like,
come on,
fed up.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, like, get it together. So, kind of closing out here a little more, but drums are sounding from the top of the city walls, and Luthadel is under attack, and Vin runs to change out her dress. So, quick perspective change to Elend. He's made it to the top of the walls, and there's two groups of Straff's men charging the city, two different spots, thousands of men, and Elend yells for the archers, but the stairs are clogged. Men are scrambling every which way. People can't get through. They are not prepared. People are panicking. A few archers get off a volley, but it does very, very little. And Straff has archers amongst his men here, and they are firing arrows, and Allomancers in the group are shooting coins, and they are striking Elend's men, and they're taking out quite a few of them. And a group of thugs they're protected with shields, and they're storming the gate, and they start to ram it. And there are, ladders or, boarding hooks are being set up on top of the walls, and Elend's men are trying to remove these, but they're being struck down pretty quickly with either arrows or coins. And Elend's kind of thinking like, man, we're going down already. Like,
Yeah,
this is not
bad.
good. It's not even the full force,
Right.
And Vin appears out of nowhere. Thanks, Vin. And she
Thank
pushes
goodness.
all the hooks off the wall.
Like the survivor.
She's about.
Sorry.
Yeah. she starts to
religious beliefs. Right?
she's about to jump down to attack the attackers. Jump down in front of Luthadel outside of the walls. But Clubs, who has made his way up the stairs, pushing past everyone, yells at her to stop. Because he knows what this is, and the two groups are immediately retreating. They've already given up, not given up, but have called it off.
Right.
And all in all, Straff's men took very few losses. Elend's men did take quite a few, and that it's quite apparent that their army's not ready. They've performed pretty poorly, and then Clubs actually says that they're performing worse than they should have.
Yeah.
And Clubs is worried, and Elend does not like that. Based on his experience. And, again, Straff doing two things here, testing Elend's response to, how what are the defenses here? How are they going to respond to us attacking? But also showing Elend before their meeting tomorrow, hey, I'm in charge here.
Yeah.
I can take this city if I want to. I'm stronger than you. And then that closes out 25.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a big message, like the 25 ends on a kind of a dark turn from a pretty uplifting chapter for the rest of it, like with Vin and some good character development with her and Tyndall, and more like Ariane. I'm enjoying the Ariane stuff a lot more because she doesn't necessarily. Like, I think she definitely is grown up with the biases that she has, but she also shows some more willingness to, like, not be like all ska are dirt, right? Because she's like, oh, well, like, I understand that's why you don't know stuff, and, like, Breeze is, like, half ska, so, like, ska aren't that bad.
Right.
And it kind of shows maybe a little bit more of a sympathizer side from her, which is interesting, as well as everybody's perception and stuff. I think like she seems very perceptive to how Vin responds to her, and she's not like Shan where she's trying to like shut Vin down or shut Vin out. Like she's playing it much more friendly and
Definitely more friendly.
yeah, and kind of more like collaborative. So I noticed that. Another thing I noticed that I liked with Tinwell is like not just her ability to size up Ellen and Vin, but she also like sizes up Breeze really well. In a comment where she talks about how Breeze is like an asshole, but if he looks at Ariane, like how it changes his whole perspective, and she kind of picks up on something that Vin like also recently discovered a couple of chapters ago about Breeze soothing Ellen during that one meeting to try and like give him confidence and stuff. So I just think like a fun kind of bonus little breeze building character building section there, and just Tinwell showing how absolutely shrewd and sharp, and how much paying attention to details. Like she's very very talented at that. So yeah, good chapter. And then at the end, I'm nervous, you know. Like Vin gets down there, she's kicking ass on the wall, she's helping them, trying to save the day, but like she can't be everywhere, and you know, like even with Vin, like this wasn't necessarily a very good encounter for Luthadel. So yeah, scary.
Yeah, they're definitely on the back foot here, I think. Yeah, and I just don't know about Ariane. You know, like I just can't. I just feel like it's not genuine, and that
new face, right?
Yeah, and they just like let her in. Yeah,
right?
We'll just let you in. Yeah. You're part of this other guy's army.
Breeze said you're okay, so we'll let you come on in. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Seems like a little risky.
I wonder what if she's counter soothing Breeze.
Right. Yeah, we haven't like been seeing her. Like, yeah, no, whoa. Totally. I know. And she's
I never
just
even considered her being an Alamancer.
Yeah, I know. Well, we haven't burned. I don't think we burned like bronze around her specifically. I'd have to go back and comb through it, but I'm not confident that we have. So I don't think she's necessarily ruled out, which is scary. The hidden Alamancer, and she's like successfully. Then I mean, if she is a problem, she's successfully infiltrated their like inner circle, like very easily.
Super easily.
And then like there was the one time where she came and it was like, oh, she like intentionally messed up her hair, and like that was interesting. Both Vin and Ellen were like kind of picking up on that. So like I don't think they like fully trust her, but I definitely think they're playing with fire by having her around. You know, so hopefully.
Yeah, I'm not stoked about it.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah.
So yeah, man, let's just keep ripping. We got 2 more chapters left, chapter 26, and we're going to hit it with a snack here.
Yeah, he was forced into war by a misunderstanding and always claimed he was no warrior, yet he came to fight as well as any man. Yeah, kind of, I think, short, quick snack. I think it just tells us that Alendi knew how to fight. I mean, that's at the end, that's all I really take from this, is that, you know, he and then forced into war by a misunderstanding. I wonder what that is, but it's too vague for me to really.
I'm
not sure.
I don't think we could even begin to.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's just a beginning kernel or like something that's been connected to this in the past, but I don't remember it. Maybe something to do with his interactions with Quan going negative or something like that. But yeah, he could fight. So I think we'll move on. And I think this chapter starts really great with quickly becoming one of my favorite characters. Not his perspective, but his, you know, this is not a good idea, mistress. You know, like Orsier, talking dog. Like I'm so here for it. He's one of my favorite companions in like most fantasy books. Like Bill the Pony is like up there, but Bill the Pony doesn't talk.
Bill
the Pony. Yeah. He's like Shadowfax, you know. Like,
dude, the things like that Bill the Pony could like if he could talk.
Yeah.
The things he'd
oh
say,
my gosh,
you know?
the things he would say, the things he's seen, the stories. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm all about it. And and yeah, I wish I could talk to Bill or Shadowfax or some other good ones. Robin Hobb's got a good animal companion. But this one's pretty great. So, Orsier.
So, we're at chapter 26, we're in a Vin perspective, and Orsur is worried about Vin going into the Straff camp. She's unpacking her dress from the dressmaker here, and Straff's tests on the defenses here have caused more chaos in Luthadel. And obviously, again, he wanted the info and wanted to intimidate them. And Kelsier actually had Orsur study all of the major noblemen during his Renault prep. Little, little research into the role. And Straff is deceitful and harsh, even for a human. That's what Orsur says. And so Vin is listening to him, and she recognizes that he has some points, but her main goal here is to support Elend, and she thinks it'll be okay. She's spent enough time in her life being intimidated, and she's not going to play that anymore. And the plan will be basically a morale boost for the city, and it will make the crew gain confidence in Elend if they can pull it off. So she's here to support him.
Yep.
And she puts on the dress and she asks for Orsur's opinion, and he's like, why? And she's like, well, I care about your opinions. And he's like, well, it's nice but unpractical. And Vin's thinking that during this that she's forgotten how much fun it was to be in these dresses, and Orsur doesn't really understand why putting on a dress would be fun. And she's like, well, you're a man and you wouldn't get it because you're a man.
This is interesting.
And
you called
he's
this
like,
out.
well, no, I'm a
earlier.
Kandra.
Yep.
And she goes, well, yeah, but you're a male Kandra.
Obviously.
And he says, well, like, how do you know that, Vin? And she's like, I can tell. So, good exchange. And
it's fun. I think it's kind of fun. Vin's like,
it's
preconceived notions of what a gender identity is, and Orsur being like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It was good.
Vin, she's having self-doubts. Shocker. About being noble, and she thinks she will only wear this one time because it's not her. All her jewelry she's putting on is wood, except the one earring from her mom. And she's also got her coins and some vials, and so she's ready to rip. And Orsur points out that there was a piece of paper from the dress box that had fallen out, and kind of hands it to her. And it's the dressmaker detailing special tailoring. Things in the sleeves, how the dress wears, and just thoughts of like he has clearly made Mistborn wear before.
Yeah, Feldu. I like him. This little
he seems cool little guy. Yeah. And Orsur asks, "All right, so you're dressed. When are we leaving?" And Vin tells him, "Well, we are not.
Sorry, buddy.
Just."
Sad
can't
puppy.
stay with the big dog. Can't run with the big dog. Stay on the porch, I guess. So, he's sad about it. I feel bad for him. And Vin does this stupid, silly thing where she thinks like he should have objected more to this, and like she's kind of disappointed that he wasn't more upset. And I'm like,
I think it's tied into the Kelsier thing. You knew, and like this is dangerous, and like. Come on, fight your contract. Like it's this expectation. You're right. It's very childish and very like he's been very upfront about this restriction is like not even just something that he personally chooses, but is like an ethos of his entire people. You know what I mean? And like part of the reason that they stopped getting hunted, like it's some of the reasons that they're alive is that they stick to the contract.
Right.
And so when he was talking about like from before, so I think very naive of her to like keep testing him kind of, but like that's what that's a childish thing to do. But it's still growing up. We all should remember. She's still, I think, 19.
That's true. They're like literally children playing like rulers. So perspective change here to Elend. Ham is objecting to Elend and Vin riding in a coach sent by Straff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Elend is assuring him like that.
So cute.
Like I can handle him. He's my father. Like I've done this before. And then he asks Ham, "Hey, instead of calling me El, can you call me Elend?" And Ellen's like, Ham's like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever." And Ellen's thinking, "Okay, baby steps, like,
right.
one thing at a time."
Majesty will come next.
So Doxson brings a letter from the Assembly, which it's interesting that his role is kind of this like buffer between Elend and the Assembly now. Like that's kind of the role that he stepped into.
Yeah.
And they're not happy that Elend missed this evening's meeting. And before they can get really further, Vin walks in, and everyone is taken aback by her beauty.
Right.
And Ellen says, or he's thinking here how much she's changed, but she's still uncertain and insecure in her eyes. Like he can read that. And Ham says, "Vin, you're wearing a dress."
Yeah.
Like, he's shocked. And Ellen tries to kiss Vin here, but she yelps and pulls away and says he's going to ruin her makeup. And so just some good exchanges here. And then we quick time warp, and now we're in the carriage. And it's a short ride. They're not parked out far from the walls, it seems like. And Ellen and Vin, they're here in the carriage, and a solemn group of people are on the wall of Luthadel watching them depart, probably their friends. And Vin says Ellen seems worried, and she says to him, like, we're going to be okay. Straff won't hurt you. Even if things go bad, he won't dare make a martyr of you. And he's like, well, I'm not worried. Like, you're worth an army, Vin, and this is the start of the problem. He scoots closer, and she again warns him about the makeup and his white coat. And we get some more objections here from Vin, like, hey, this isn't me. This dress isn't me. And Ellen says, hey, like, maybe that's true, and I want you to be who you want to be. Very Tynwell-ish. But, like, I'm in these new clothes, and they did make me feel different. Like, this new war suit that I'm wearing, like, this uniform, it makes me feel like I'm in charge, and, like, it does make a difference. So, like, you do you, but, like, don't hate the process, because it could work. Right. And Vin does kiss him, and he's like, hey. And she says, well, I'm a Mistborn, I'm more precise. So pretty cool.
That was cute. Fun little end there.
Yeah. They're being cute. And so Tynwell thinks Vin can be a woman and a Mistborn. And Ellen says that Tynwell's wise and, tells Vin that he loves her. And the question is, like, hey, like, how do you like yourself, Vin? Right. What do you want? I'm thinking of the scene from The Notebook. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? And he tells her that being herself is enough, and that what should shine through. That's what should shine through, and that's what did it for him. Was like her real personality, despite the fact that she was playing the Lady Valette. Right. It's what actually shone through the facade, and like she just needs to be herself.
Yep.
And then we get some details on Straff. Ellen's explaining while they're on their way that, his dad's ruthless, he's clever, he's infatuated with power, he keeps dozens of mistresses, and when they don't perform well or they, he's done with them, he has them removed. We all know what that means.
Right.
And he treats his allies poorly, and that if you're not willing to do his bidding, then you're outcast. You're not going to get contracts with the family. Like, you're either in or you're out. And Vin says, hey, I've known crew leaders like that. And, like, I've basically survived in those crews by acting unimportant. And that's kind of our plan tonight. So she tells Ellen to let Straff think that Straff is bullying him. And Ellen's kind of actually impressed with Vin's knowledge and some of the things that she's bringing, because he kind of knows this. He's played the game with Straff, and he kind of knows what to do. But the fact that I think he's a little surprised that she kind of has seen a side of that and has experienced that herself.
Right.
And so they're approaching the camp, and Vin spots an obligator walking around, and kind of some conversation about how, Straff is really just keeping powerful tools. Like, he likes to collect things that he can use, whether that's obligators, Chondra, whatever it can be. He likes to keep that in his pocket.
Right.
And Straff, they roll right up to Straff's tent. He emerges, and he's a large man. He's got this commanding posture. And Ellen is thinking about all of the little defiances he's had with his dad throughout the years, and that, like, he finally stood up to him in the final days of the Final Empire, and how good that felt. And so, like, he's kind of almost like building himself back up to, like, I've done this before, I can do it again. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. And he's like hyping himself up for it.
Yeah.
And Straff is surprised. He's surprised they came. Says, like, I could have you guys killed, and kind of raises his arm like he's gonna do it. And, Ellen just immediately jumps in and starts to submit and starts to kind of fluff him up. It says, like, we're here to dine. I'm here to introduce you to Vin. We've got important things to talk about. And Straff, straight in on the creep train, eyes Vin, calls her cute, doesn't think that isn't thinking that she can be that strong of a Mistborn here, feels her touch on his emotions and tells Ellen to tell her to stop. And obviously, we're going to find out here very shortly that this is all a ploy by Vin. She knows that Straff is a tin eye, that he's going to be able to see things and hear things. So, she tells Ellen out loud, pretty loudly, like, oh wow, Straff's so good. He he knew I was touching his emotions right away. Like, oh my god, he's so good and so powerful. And Ellen's like, yeah, he can hear you. And then Ellen kind of picks up on it as like, oh, she's good. Like, I know what she's doing. So it's cool to see her kind of in a good element here and like holding her own. I really like that.
Yeah.
So to just keep on grinding, we're almost there. Ska servants come in, which Vin does not like, and Straff sees this and makes some comments and says, "Oh yeah, like forgot that Vin's a Ska, and I wouldn't let her wear a dress like she is if she was working for me or whatever." And or maybe wear a dress at all is kind of what the tone implied.
A little disgusting.
More creepy.
Yeah.
And so Ellen thinks that Straff is basically just trying to throw Vin off, but he catches Vin smirking, and that's when she realizes that, that's when he realizes that Vin's lying and deceiving Straff about her allomancy and that it's all a trick. And so he's like about it. And Straff says that he hopes none of the servants are relatives of Vin's, which is just wild.
Yeah.
And yeah, super douche canoe. And she says she's a noblewoman. Again, this is an act on her part. She knows it's just all for Straff's benefit here. And Ellen thinks, wow, she's really doing good at this. Straff has a girl brought in, Hosel, a very young girl dressed up. She's sent in to prove that he can have young girls too. It's not just his son that can pull the young ones.
Well, she kind of looks like Vin in a couple ways too. It's just like, I could get my own. Just absolutely disgusting.
What a swell guy.
Yeah, we hate Straff.
We hate Straff. I think that's we can all die on that hill. That's a good hill to die on.
I'm gonna lay down right now. Easy.
I'm good. God. So Ellen says that they're there for this alliance. Straff's saying, I don't need you. Set isn't a concern of Straff. He's got an alliance with Set. They're eating steaks here while they're having dinner. I thought that was just a good thing to point out. Everyone's probably starving, but they're eating steak.
Eating well. Yep.
And Ellen and Straff go back and forth about this plan. Ellen wants to, hey, let's team up. We'll kill Set together. I want to have a win. You can have the city, but we need to do this first. Like he's kind of playing it's just not working, and Ellen doesn't really know why it's not. He's done this before, and he thinks that something else is going on with Straff, something that's keeping him from doing as he normally would. And since it's not working, Vin kind of motions for Ellen to bring up metal, specifically the ATM, and Ellen indicates that he can get the Straff the ATM. I'll bring it out to you. We can attack Set together, blah, blah, blah. And then Vin here jumps in and confesses that they don't have it. And Ellen, this is a surprising turn for him. He's not expecting this from her.
Right.
But he knows, he's like, oh, her ideas are usually better than mine. So I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, not historically, that's been true for everybody.
She killed the Lord Ruler, and it was her plan that did it. So
a better plan than Kelsier.
Wasn't Kelsier's plan?
Totally.
So Straff's just amused by all this. He's like, oh yeah, you guys clearly don't have the ATM. Zane said that you guys didn't, but I didn't believe him. And then Straff's like, okay, enough. Sends the girls outside so the men can talk. They obey, and Vin goes outside. And then that's the end of chapter 26.
Yeah, I think I don't have much to add other than Straff sucks.
Straff does suck.
Yeah, I hate him. And so, yeah. That's how this chapter makes me feel.
Yeah. I think it's just, it's more of the same in 27 as far as where we're at and what's going on. So I think we'll just jump into it pretty quick. But, I think it's good again to see, like, Vin and Elend, they do a good job, of, like, supporting each other.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yep.
Like, sometimes they can be very, like, he was like, Vin, like, you're great, you're powerful, like, believe in yourself, be who you want to be. She's saying, hey, like, I'm not worried about what's going on, I'm going to protect you no matter what. Like, he's not going to make a martyr out of you. Like, they can be good.
Yeah.
But then we just see all these other things when they're apart, and sometimes when they're together, where they're either not communicating and not telling each other how they truly feel, or they're having these other things going on, and then they're not coming back together to address them.
Precisely.
So, it's just interesting to see, I think, both sides of it here in this chapter.
Yeah, 100%. I think they nailed it, hit the nail on the head there, for sure.
Well,
I'll snack us.
You want to bring us home on our last snack?
Absolutely. He was no simple soldier. He was a force of leadership, a man that fate itself seemed to support. Again, short snack, I think just more double down on his military background.
He was the man.
Yeah. And like and like leadership background, and he was no simple soldier. Like, he could fight. I get the idea now. Double snack attack on that. So yeah, I'm chewing. I'm down to jump into the scene here, see what Ellen and Straff are up to. In the tent.
Yeah. Let's do it. So 27, Elend and Straff are alone in the tent here. The girls have been sent out, and we're wrapping up last chapter of part 2. So Straff here says he is close to executing Elend, and Elend asks, like, well, you're really going to do that to your only son? And I just, like, put in my notes, LOL, poor Elend, because he has no idea that he's got, like, 100 siblings or whatever it is, right? Like, you're not the only one.
Yeah,
and you're certainly not the prodigal son, because you have, at this point, no elementic abilities whatsoever. Like, that's clearly what Straff is going after. We'll get to that. I'm jumping ahead, but, like, poor Elend, he has no idea.
Yeah, totally.
So they're, again, going back and forth on the plan. Ellen's obviously pushing for this alliance. Straff says, like, it doesn't matter, that he has certain interests in the city who indicate like who the next leader will be if they if he were to kill Elend, and that the next leader would be a lot more accommodating to Straff. So obviously, who it just begs the question of who on the assembly is, basically having these conversations with Straff, and who's communicating and talking about it, and
who's the leak.
Who's the leak? Yeah, because that's not the Conjure. I think that's 100% someone just, like, political motivations.
There's
and
plenty of reasons for people
moving
to
the
be
chess
like
pieces.
that. Yeah, for sure. Especially, like, I'm highly suspicious of the noblemen, but I wouldn't say I would put it past, like, the Feldons and the people that are he's like the merchant class Scott, even to, like, make a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think anybody is honestly a suspect from the assembly at this point. Like, it would make more sense to me that it would be a noble person, but at the same time, I think Straff will use any tool that he can manipulate, so he's not above or anything. Yeah, like using that.
Yeah, he's gonna use you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And so Straff here says that he and Set have the treaty. It's, they're going to split the ATM.
They already met, yeah.
Split the Empire. Straff gets Luthadel. Set doesn't care for Luthadel. And Ellen's like, okay, well, that's all fine and well, but what are you going to do about the Koloss army? And this gives Straff pause. And, I don't think that Straff is completely unaware of this threat that's coming. Probably even more reason why he wants inside Luthadel now, to secure the walls and be able to have his back against something. And but it just kind of goes to seem that he's kind of surprised that Ellen knows about it. And again, we'll see this later, but he's growing increasingly surprised at Ellen's behavior and his strength that he's showing and like his knowledge.
Yeah.
He's been underestimating him his whole life, and Ellen's even talked about that, right?
Absolutely.
So Straff's huffing and puffing, and he's trying to blow the house down, but he can't. And he's saying, like, if I would have stayed in the city, yeah, I would have been on the throne, and I would be able to sleep in my own house, right? Keep Venture. And basically says, like, I came here to kill you, Ellen, no matter what. And, you know, the Lord, like, Luthadell's the Lord Ruler city, which, like, that's how he sees it in his mind, and like, my home's in it,
right?
And so he has these, you know, it seems like he has this greater connection to the Lord Ruler than I think what most people do. Most people, at least in the nobility, saw him as like something to be feared, and then once he was gone, they're like, yeah, I don't care about his religions. We kicked out his obligators, but he still has obligators here. Like I think he's drinking a little more of the Lord Ruler Kool-Aid than the rest of the group.
Well, yeah, I definitely think so. And I think he was like directly benefiting from a lot of the initiatives of the Lord Ruler. Like he was directly involved with the ATM production and the, like, you know, transportation from the pits to Luthadel. So like yeah, I mean, I think he's like also very acutely aware, like, where did all the ATM go? Because he like had some visibility that like ATM was leaving the mines and going to Luthadel, right? Like, so yeah, I think that's also like another big point for him. I didn't think about that until now though. But yeah, it is interesting. And then we notice when we get to the camp, one thing I think we in the last chapter, that like the obligators have taken over the administrative burden of Straff's like empire, and Ellen underestimates Straff because he's he doesn't know how to do all this administrative stuff, how to feed all these people, but the obligators have like filled that void for him, and they seem like they're working together. And that's really bad because the obligators, like, you know, obligators and the inquisitors are two different branches of the church of the Lord Ruler, and like they were a strong branch of the, you know, of the whole situation. Like I think at the end of the first book, we saw the inquisitors really kind of make their power play and like and supersede them. There was the one inquisitor that we got a short perspective for a little bit of like talking about kind of that politics and that world building. But I think definitely the obligators like were an old power and like have a lot of power, a lot of logistical and administrative power. So I think Straff is teamed up and, like you said, drinking the Kool-Aid.
So we haven't seen any obligators, but no inquisitors.
Correct.
Now remind me, when we were in a Sazed perspective with Marsh exploring the conventicle of Saran, they were saying that, hey, the inquisitors left and they were like going towards Luthadel. Did they have obligators with them?
We don't
know.
We have no idea.
I can't remember if he said that they did or not.
Yeah, I don't.
Either way,
I don't remember.
I
don't think we know, and okay. I think that it's definitely Marsh's focus is on an inquisitor.
Okay.
Like line of thinking and looking
Understood.
For the inquisitors was my understanding. But yeah, I think there's a lot of unknowns really with what's going on, and there always kind of has been. Like we're still kind of a big mystery of like what's going on with the inquisitors, what's going on with the obligators, what's their motive now that the Lord Ruler's dead. Like what do they do? Why do they do it? Very interesting. So
okay,
yeah.
So Straff here, he's saying that he's actually impressed by Ellen's clothes, his Mistborn mistress. Maybe Ellen's not a complete idiot after all, and says, well, okay, I'll let you live, and in return you're going to give me Luthadel, and that's going to become the capital of my new kingdom. And Straff says Ellen's going to order the gates open for him, and he's going to march in. And Ellen says, not so fast there, Pop. Ellen says, like, I gave orders that, the gates aren't going to be open to you no matter what. So if we're together, they're not letting us in. And Straff's angry, and he's like, God, Ellen's such a real smooth character now.
Yeah.
Like, he does, he's like, real cool cucumber, man. How did this happen? He's
Fuck
not liking
you.
it.
Yeah,
and
for
he's
sure.
saying he's wondering why. What's that?
He's yucking his yum for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's like, I don't like this glow up
big
that you've
spoonful
had.
of yucky. Yeah, he's not happy.
So he wonders why Ellen came with nothing to offer. And then he mentions, it's like, well, I guess you could offer me Vin. Like, that's the one thing that I could get out of all of this, which is just, again, gross.
Disgusting.
And Straff says he's going to take the city by force. And Ellen's like, yep, you could do that. But then Set's going to attack you from the back while you're doing that. And Straff says, well, the Ska and the aftermath of the Lord Ruler's death were supposed to kill Ellen. Like, that was my hopes when I left the city. And you were like, well, I'm going to stay. He was like, yeah, you stay, dummy.
Yeah, right.
They'll take care of you. Because he knows how he's treated Ska. And,
right.
the fact that they are, not about the nobility.
For sure. That's what
So the fact that, Ellen was able to, build this assembly and get people to work together and,
right.
It's pretty impressive.
Totally.
So... Ellen thinks that he's in trouble here, right? His plans aren't working. Straff is really ramping up. Seems like he's getting ready to kill Ellen, and Ellen screams, wait.
Yeah.
And he can see the murder in his dad's eyes. And Straff's like, I was never going to let you leave. The second that you agreed to meet and, I'm sorry, let's back that up. Ellen can see that his dad was never going to let him leave here.
Yeah.
And Straff agrees and says,
you're dead.
You were dead the moment I started marching towards Luthadel. I was coming for you, basically.
Yeah, right.
And Straff says, I'm going to take Vin tonight, and we'll see who named She Screams.
Yeah.
And it's just yuck, dude.
The depravity of this fucking
disgusting. Man. And Ellen just starts laughing, cuts him off. And says Straff is foolish, and he calls Straff a pig and a disgusting man, that he's barely competent, which I don't know if that's true.
Right.
But he does say that, the Lord's Ruler death was the only thing that saved the Venture House, and that Straff's like, well, I'm going to be extra rough with Vin tonight, and calls for the guards. And so I'm assuming when he says the Lord Ruler's death was the only thing that saved the Venture House, they were the ATM production was going down, right?
Well, the pits were destroyed, yeah. So
that was Kelsey destroyed the pits.
That was gonna fall down on Straff essentially, for punishment's sake. He was kind of screwed. But yeah, I like how he's like, the Lord Ruler was a tyrant, but he was also a genius. You're neither. You're just a selfish man who used up his resources, then end up dead from a knife in the back. Pretty awesome. F you, that Straff here.
Yeah, gonna get Julius Caesar, buddy.
Yeah, right.
And so Straff calls for the guards. Ellen feels elated, and he's got this Ellen's feeling like he's got this weight lifted off his shoulders. It's so good to finally speak the full truth to his father. Yeah. And Ellen says, kill me, father, and you'll die too.
Yeah. Then we get the perspective change, yeah.
And then perspective change. Perspective change to Vin. Vin's outside. She's listening in. She's like, ooh, Ellen's not doing great in there. She hears the soldiers rush in. She's thinking about rushing in. And she's thinking Ellen's too honest by nature, but his newest proclamation here about, if I die, you'll die is different. And so she continues to listen. And she hears Ellen say that he came to get near Straff. He came to bring his Mistborn to the very heart of his camp. And there's just silence. And Straff laughs. And he obviously doesn't think much of Vin. And Ellen said that, she fooled you, man. She did all that on purpose. You thought, when you could feel her touching your emotions, that was just a mistake, and she doesn't know how to use, she lets you know that you could feel her emotions. That was on purpose. And Vin's like, oh, this is clever. I understand what he's doing. She starts writing his emotions and flaring her metals here. And she's like, come on, Ellen, pick up on it. And so he does pick up on it. They're working good together, and they start working in tandem. And Ellen starts calling out emotions, and then Vin starts hitting him with those emotions, and he's having these feelings. And then she, to top it all off, cherry on the cake, she uses her Duralumin and soothes everything away with this explosive pressure on Straff. And Ellen obviously reminds Straff here of Vin's power. She's the one that killed the Lord Ruler. If you kill me, she kills you. So kind of cut away from that, back to Vin. Zane's trying to sneak up on her, and she hears him and turns around. She's got her daggers out, and again he's like, "What the fuck, man? I'm pretty good. Why can't I never sneak up on you? I don't understand."
Yeah.
And back to Ellen saying that his father has you've always underestimated me. I don't care if I die as long as my people are safe. Yeah. And Straff is like, "This is idiocy." And Ellen reiterates here, dude, your captains, your generals, your obligators, you're all gonna die if I die. So, you do you, but it's not gonna end well. And Zane thinks, oh yeah, Ellen's being clever, but why do me and you, Vin, why are we always the ones that have to be the knives? Why are we always the tip of the spear?
Right. Yeah.
Back inside the tent, we're jumping back and forth. Straff brings up his own Mistborn, Zane, and Ellen asks, oh yeah, Zane's gonna protect you? Why hasn't he killed Vin yet? Which, I don't really know exactly what he's getting at with that, but then, Zane asked Vin that, hey, I thought you said Ellen was above this kind of talk, and Vin's kind of uncomfortable here. And it's Ellen wouldn't actually do anything like that. He wouldn't order me to kill somebody. But I just want to jump back to that. Ellen asks, well, why hasn't Zane killed Vin yet? And I just don't know. Is that from a does Ellen know that or have some kind of thought that there's some kind of connection there? Or I just wonder what he thinks he's achieving by saying that.
Yeah,
is he saying oh, Vin's too powerful and Zane doesn't want to?
Is afraid.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's kind of I think he's calling it out that way, but it's naive and definitely off base from what we know to be the truth. But part of what in talking here, Ellen is proving every one of Zane's points.
Yes.
That Vin is a weapon and a tool, and that's we know that Ellen thinks of her in a different way, but it's definitely how he's trying to manipulate his father right now. And so there's a shred of truth to what Vin's saying about him bluffing, but it's just the timing is the worst ever for this to be put into question in Vin's mind, right? Because it's being very effective in the moment, but unfortunately it's destructive in terms of Vin's ideals of Ellen. But yeah, otherwise, I'm not sure. He definitely is aware that the Watcher, he knows the Watcher hasn't killed Vin or tried to fight Vin, and that it is different and interesting. He doesn't know that Zane is the Watcher.
That's true. That's a good point.
Because they had that confrontation, and Vin chose not to tell him that Zane was the Watcher. Too.
So he doesn't even know.
So
Yeah,
I don't
even know. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure otherwise why he would mention it, but I still think he's oblivious to all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah. So, God, Ellen.
Yes.
So Vin says that Ellen hasn't even really seen her fight, maybe only once. And Zane says oh, okay, so it's only a small lie then. That's acceptable because it's just a tiny one. And Vin says Ellen's not using me, and Zane says, well, what is all this to him? Pointing around him, can he ever understand the myths or you? And Vin's well, he loves me. And Zane says, well, he loves you or he loves having you.
Right.
And Vin says, well, he's not like that. And this is when Vin notices white scars on Zane's arms and hands, and he recognized them as pits of Hathsin scars.
Yeah.
And she brings them up, and Zane just looks away and said, I understand you, Vin. And he bows and he disappears. All right, let's get this out of the way right now. So my original thought when I saw this, I was oh shit. Zane is the guy in chapter 32 of the Final Empire when Kelsier was going to the pits to destroy them that like helped him out of the pits and was like, go run. But I went back and read it.
Yeah.
That guy's name was Waylon.
Yeah, it was Waylon. Yeah,
never gonna see anybody again named Waylon.
I don't think so.
But I was like, oh, like I thought I had this connection. I was like, I know where this is happening, but it's not.
Sick.
So I don't know why he was in the pits or what he was doing there.
And like another question, and since we're on the topic of questions, and one question I had here was he in the pits of Hatson, or has he been self-mutilating himself to make himself more like Kelsier, who he knows Vin admires and respects and like pseudo worships, right? Like, is there some kind of weird like psych thing going on there? They're like white scars, so they're old scars, but like we do know that he's like cutting up his arms like
he is cutting up his arms
often. And so I don't know, like she definitely is pretty sure that she's like maybe taking a leap there, that they're like pits of Hatson scars, because she wants to see him as someone like Kelsier.
Oh, that's a great point.
In some ways. And I just don't know. I can't tell if it's like authentic or not. And I don't know, to be honest. So yeah, that's all I want to call out.
Cool. No, that's a great way to think about that. So Vin heard Straff say, "Go, leave my camp." And we get a perspective change to Straff. And he can't understand what just happened and why he let Ellen go. And he's thinking about how Vin was making him feel when she was soothing him, compared to how he thought. He compares it to how he thought death would feel.
Yeah, he's shook. I love it.
Yeah,
I love to see him shaking in his boots. I think the Duralumon push was like real, probably intense.
Yes, like I'm sure it was. Yeah, head spinning, like I would imagine all kinds of effects on you physically,
right?
Or physiologically, maybe. And so, he's thinking that things were going well, and that the info provided by Zane's Khandra was accurate. That Elend was going to come in and try to make an alliance,
Ooh.
and that Elend was so good that he probably would have gone along with it if he hadn't had that info. And he's thinking how good Elend's gotten. So someone know, like, it's close enough in the group that they know that what Ellen's plan was here,
right,
is the Khandra. And so
scary.
Not great. Don't love that.
It's bad. We don't know. We still don't know. I mean, like, honestly, I've been like trying to pay really close attention this read through. I have no freaking idea who it is from this point. I'm just like, I know we're ruling people out, and like as we're ruling them out, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, like I knew that, but like at the same time, I'm trying to think about it from like the first perspective, and like, what do you think? Like, who could it be?
I think it could be Doxson, and I say that because A, we can't test him.
We can't test him with an Allomancer test. Yeah.
With Allomancy, and B, like, who's to say that? What is he actually giving to the assembly or bringing back to Ellen? Right? Like,
he's in a position.
We don't know.
Where
he's in this position as this courier or like pseudo like mouthpiece of Ellen for the assembly. Like totally. Like, what is he actually saying to them? What are they saying? Like, maybe those letters aren't even from them. Maybe he just wrote them. Like now they did have everyone's signature, but I don't know. Maybe he forged them. I don't know.
I mean,
we'll see.
Khandra probably pretty good at forging stuff. If that was
that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
That's kind of where I'm at.
That's your leading theory.
We're really. I mean, it's like
we're running out of.
Got left. It's him. Clubs. Is that? I mean,
I don't want to just start spouting off names. I mean, like there's a couple
I'm
other.
Just trying to think
people.
of who in the group that we haven't, because we tested Ham, we tested Spook,
and Breeze,
and we tested Breeze. We knew it wasn't Breeze.
Yeah. We confirmed.
I know we've got anybody in the keep, like the guards or the
Captain Dumeau is the captain.
Captain
of the guards.
Dumeau, yeah. We've got the servant, like that head servant that got name dropped.
Yeah.
So I don't know
that servant. Yeah.
And so, all right, let's keep rolling.
I love it.
So he's thinking. Straff is thinking here about how powerful Vin is, and then Zane walks in. and he says, "Oh, Straff, you kind of look like you've seen a ghost. Maybe your own." And Straff's he asks, like, were there other people out there, other Allomancers nearby? And Zane's like, "Nope, she's just that good, dude."
Yeah.
Like, and Zane just walks out. Like, he's like, "I'm out." And Straff yells at him, and he goes, "I want Vin dead. She's too dangerous. And, now that I know that they don't have the ATM, she's useless to me. Kill her." And Straff almost gives the order to commence an assault against the city. Like, he's so shooken up, he's like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
And he's thinking about all that stuff that Ellen said, like, Ellen's plan to attack set together, and Straff really can't figure out how Ellen has gone through this change,
right?
And how he's become strong somehow. And he decides,
yeah.
"No, I'm not going to attack until you kill Vin. Vin's too strong."
Right.
And Zane says, "Okay, like, I'm going to need help killing her." And he's like, "Well, what kind of help?" And he goes, "An Allomancer strike team."
Yeah.
And Straff has access to special resources. His many mistresses aren't just for pleasure.
Yeah.
And that he's basically building an Allomancer army that's loyal to him. And there's only been one Mistborn, Zane, but many, many Mistings.
Oh,
and Straff goes, "Use them." And Zane's like, "All right, I'll use them, but your other kids, my half brothers, half sisters, they might not survive this." And Straff doesn't care about that. He wants her gone. Do anything you need to do it.
Right.
So Zane leaves. And he's like, "All right, got you." And Straff wants Hosel back because she reminds him of Vin, and if he can, have control over her, then it'll all be
comfort.
okay.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah,
oh gosh.
God, Straff is the worst. What a douche canoe. So perspective change. Ellen and Vin, they're in the carriage. Ellen's super pumped, ecstatic. Vin is super reserved. He's trying to tell her, "Hey, Vin, like, it's because of you that the city's safe." And she's like, "Yeah, but I guess," and like she's having all these thoughts, right? Zane's in her head, and he's like, "I killed the Lord Ruler, but it was someone else's plan. I just held the knife."
Right.
And
so making her feel used, even
which,
with
like,
that.
That's not necessarily even true, because like they deviated from the plan so much.
Yeah.
But like she's got these intrusive thoughts from Zane coming at her.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Almost as bad as like the Reen thoughts she used to have, which we haven't really like seen, but like it's almost like taking a similar like approach, right, of this self-deprecation and shit like that.
Not good. Very sad.
Yes.
Ellen's trying to boost her morale, boost her spirit, says she's fantastic. There's no one like you. Thanks him softly, she does, and he just can't figure her out. He's like, every time I think I got her figured out, I don't. And so they arrive back. Ham, D's nuts. Ham, Breeze, Dachshund, and Spook, and Orsur are waiting. Yeah. And Ellen explained kind of what happened and how it all worked out. And basically that he threatened to kill Straff in order to get him to comply. And then he explains, like, we've been overlooking our greatest resource, a mighty weapon, Vin, which is obviously not the path that we wanted to continue down.
I know. He's just fucking
like
up.
He just like doubled down on it.
Yeah. He's fucking up every single possible way that you could now.
He's really crushing it. And Breeze loves this. He's like, you threatened to kill the guy that you were supposed to like get an alliance with, and like you like escape. Like, he's like, I love that. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's just like
loves how hard it went
a little bit, and like it's a very Kelsier move. You walked into the strongest person's camp and threatened to kill him, and like Breeze is like, yes, we're back. Like,
the boys are back. And so Ellen here tells him, like, that he's gonna have Vin kill him, kill Straff, and Ellen can still sense something's off with Vin. He's thinking, oh, she's disappointed in how I performed. She thinks I could have done better.
Yeah, he knows she's upset, but he just doesn't know why. Yeah.
And Spook's bummed that they came back because he was looking forward to taking Ellen's job, which is funny. Like, he's really coming out like of his shell and being funny.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
So, kind of wrapping up things, Ellen's hoping this will be a morale boost for the city and the assembly. He wants to repeat this now with Set in the Set camp, and they move for the keep. They're getting in carriages here, and Dachshund and Ham, join Ellen and Vin, which is an unusual move from Doxson.
Yeah, glances oddly at him.
Keen in. If we're looking for unusual things, is Doxson actually thinking, wow, Ellen is doing a good job. Maybe I will support him. Or is this a tell? And so Doxson pulls an envelope from the quote unquote assembly and, calls Ellen Your Majesty when he hands it to him. Dude, I wasn't on this path when I read this, but now that we've been talking about it, I'm full in on Doxson's the fucking Contra. Like, he would not call Ellen Your Majesty.
I know. And it's like, I think that's where they want us to be, right? Like, Ellen noticed him oddly, glanced at him oddly at Doxson as he climbed into the carriage. So, like, I think
but it could just be what's like a redirect. I don't know.
A red herring.
God damn it,
yeah,
Brando.
I know he's getting us good, but I love it. I love the mystery. I love not knowing. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, damn it, Brandon. All right, what is in this? What is in this note we got here?
Well, and I quote, Your Majesty.
This is bad.
This note is to inform you that by unanimous vote, the Assembly has decided to invoke the Charter's No Confidence Clause. We appreciate your efforts on behalf of the city, but the current situation calls for a different kind of leadership than Your Majesty can provide. We take this step with no hostility, but only resignation. We see no other alternative and must act for the good of Luthadel. We regret to have to inform you of this by letter. End quote,
dude.
Signed by all 23 members of the Assembly. And Ham says, well, what is it? And Ellen's, shocked, and he goes, I've just been deposed.
I know. The Assembly was all...
Boom.
And end of part 2. I just
end of 27. Yeah, hit it. Hit me with
dude,
it.
The Assembly was all, live, laugh, love in the streets, call the HOA in the sheets. Like, they got him. They got him bad. He's down.
Yep.
He's down for the count. yeah. This is
probably not going to be
twist.
Negotiating with anybody now.
Right.
He speaks for no one.
Right. And kind of like, he had this opportunity. Doxson had come up to him and been like, hey, like, they're really mad that you missed the meeting the other night. Like, you should, do something. He's like, it's fine. He keeps underestimating. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've had these inklings from like Vin and other people like, well, you should rule. You should be the ruler. You should be in charge. You should not be like letting people do this. And then it almost seems like that's kind of backfired on him. And my last little fun note, next part is titled King. So very interesting to see, well, who is that? Because it doesn't sound like that's Ellen.
Yeah.
It just got
Certainly
deposed.
not. Yeah, it's... I wonder, like... Ellen, he definitely had this vision for his government and the Assembly and were working in concert, and then he kind of did go off the script from what he wanted, and he started to do
his own thing
and like, he was saying it's in the benefit of everybody, but like, you also have to do the will of the people, and like these elected officials or appointed officials, like, you
practice what you preach, man.
Practice what you preach. Yeah, it's interesting. So, dude, what a great end to part 2 of the book. We're almost halfway there. Like, in this book, it's pretty awesome that we've been cruising and we're halfway through, basically.
Yeah.
Almost. I think we're like 2 chapters away from being halfway. So, yeah, dude, an intense couple chapters for sure. Lots of questions for me about like obviously, what does this mean? Is like Straff's pick, who, someone in the city that's on the Assembly, are they going to be the new ruler? What's this mean for Ellen? How are they going to combat this? What's going on with the Koloss army? Haven't seen that in a minute. What's going on with Marsh? Still haven't seen that. Don't know where he went.
Right.
Like, how's Set going to react? Is Alarion really a spy or not?
Right.
Who's the Khandra? Maybe I already said that, but that's a big question.
That's a big one, I think. Yeah. That's double saying.
Obviously, I think some of the biggest things we got was a lot of good backstory on Straff. This like Alamancer strike team that he's got just up his sleeve of like all his children. Like,
right.
Very weird. Unexpected for sure. And and then of course, I don't think it would be a Mistborn book if we didn't have a ton of self-doubt and introspection by Vin and Ellen, and like, I think that's right on par. So it's been a cool couple chapters. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed them. I think it was a good end to this part, and I'm excited to see what this next part's all about.
Totally. Last remaining questions I just wanted to call out were the mist, the figure in the mist, and the thumping, and kind of what's going on with that, and kind of like Vin's like objective being really clear in this episode, the last couple chapters, where she's like, if I didn't have to be here, like doing all this, I'd be going north. I would be checking out what's going on with this thumping. Really honest, and like I think. Another cool part of her development is like how she has this, that's her own interest, right? And that's like, it's unique to her. I think Sazed, like she's looking forward to talking to Sazed more about it, but he didn't quite pick up on figures in the mist, just that something is up with the mist. So yeah I think there's a lot of questions there.
Dude, and, you just like blew my mind with how that connects to Zane and being like you're just doing what they want, and she's like, well, what do I want? Like she's not really thinking about it that way, and like and then he brought it up and she goes, oh, that's what I didn't even like, I mean, I obviously read that, but I don't think I
think by talking it through totally, as we were going through the episode, I had, I kind of follow along with the book as we kind of go through, and I like caught that, and I was like, oh yeah, like this is what Vin wants right now. Like I think more than anything, because she's spending all of her free time when she's not spending all of her time protecting Elend or like doing whatever people need her to do. She's like using her time to like research. Remember, you're taking notes, Vin? Like, what are you doing? Or Sears like calling her out, like all the pages are everywhere. There's a table you could read that on. Like she's bringing the piece of paper like with her places. So I think it's definitely like a passion of hers is to figure that out and to kind of explore her own connection with the Lord Ruler. I mean, like with the person who wrote the passages that she's reading, right? She's really like we are connecting to the book. For her. Yes, yeah. Right. The formerly known as like whoever Rashik killed.
Yeah.
Like I think so. They don't say like Alendi in it. Maybe she does know the name. I don't think
she doesn't know. She doesn't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure she does, but either way, she knows it's not Rashik. That she knows for sure. She figured that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think those were some good outstanding questions. So yeah, Kyle, loving reading this one with you. I think definitely doing my best to ask a lot of questions and be kind of like a guide to open doors. Do my best not to spoil anything. So got a couple huge shout out to our listeners, to our moms. Shout out to our families for supporting us during this time, and we're doing stuff out here at Shards and Shenanigans Incorporated.
I mean, well, and maybe this is a better conversation for offline, but like I think we're getting close to like we've got some episodes stored up, we've got some editing done. Like let the people know what we've been cooking up.
Oh yeah, serve them a nice side of barley wraps.
It's not the snack you wanted, but it's the snack you're getting, and you're gonna eat it. Whether you like it or
steamed root vegetable mush.
Yeah, real tasty.
Well, that's great, man. Well, any final closing notes? Part two.
Part two, and the books. What is it? Is it five total parts in this book, or 4?
Good question.
Let's say part 3, part 4. Yep, 5 parts. No, 6.
Parts. I think the last part is like
there's
shorter.
A little 6.
It's like a little.
Yeah, it's a little short guy.
Yeah.
So we're 2 in out of 6.
Sweet.
So yeah, we're gonna keep ripping, and we'll let you guys know what to read next as far as which chapters. So you're ready. Just check our socials for that, and I mean we'll see you next week.
Looking forward to it, and take care, everybody.
Love you guys. Misty Boys out.
Misty Boys out. Shards and Shenanigans.